President had visited sub-Saharan Africa. The president came back from that trip deeply impressed and deeply moved. Impressed and moved by the vitality he saw and by the promise he saw in Africa, and also moved by the challenges he saw in Africa. And he has charged us to redouble our efforts to see what we can do to work on those challenges. First and foremost, HIV, AIDS problem that is just ravaging sub-Saharan Africa, parts of sub-Saharan Africa. The Millennium Challenge account, a number of African countries will be eligible for those funds. Making sure that I do a good job of defending our normal foreign assistance budgets before the Congress, and Congress has been very generous, so we can help African nations through our bilateral program. And doing everything we can to help African nations put their political systems on a firmer foundation of democracy and the rule of law and the end of corruption. And so he came back from Africa reassured that the approach that he has taken to Africa since the beginning of this administration is the correct approach. Engage, be visible, have real programs, and make sure that our policy is one that is based on real substance and not just style.
Saeed for a follow-up, and then the gentleman in the very far back. Let's go to the back.
I have a question on the wall, Mr. Secretary. Sir, it was suggested that the wall, Israel can build a fence if it sees fit, but it is not helpful. How does that juxtapose itself against the President's vision for a viable Palestinian state? And also on the issue of the loan guarantees, what mechanism will the administration use to actually deduct the cost of the wall from whatever loan guarantees to given to Israel? And I'm Saeed Erikat from Al-Quds newspaper. Sorry.
So were those 2, 3, or 1? I couldn't. With respect to the fence, all of us put fences up, and we feel a need for a fence on our property. And we try to do it in a way that does not prejudice anyone else's property or anyone else's rights. And in the case of this fence, Israel felt there was a need to put up such a fence for security purposes. And the President has said that we understand that. It's when the fence begins to intrude on land that is not on the Israeli side of the Green Line, or starts to intrude in a way that makes it more difficult for us to make the case for a viable Palestinian state, or starts to cut off certain towns and villages, or in other ways interfere with Palestinian activity in Palestinian towns and villages, then is it appropriate for us to say to our Israeli friends, look, we have a problem here. And particularly as they're getting ready for the next stages of this fence construction project. And that's what we're doing. We've identified some problems with the subsequent stages of the fence, what's going on, and we're going to be discussing those problems with them. With respect to loan guarantees, we have not made any decisions yet, and certainly have not made any announcements yet. But we have to be faithful to the congressional direction that we had with respect to how to use these loan guarantee monies.
Okay, the gentleman in the back, and then we'll come to Andre here.
Choi, working with the NBC television of South Korea, or North Korea. And you reportedly said that some form of security assurance to North Korea could include the Senate confirmation or legislative procedure. It is according to transcript. But State Department yesterday denied and made a correction on what you said. So would you clarify the verbatim, what had said, and then did you dangle some security assurance idea to North Korea to make them